Hello, welcome to The Outspoken Artist. My name is Carlo here at Imaging 2024. I'm here joined with Chris Garbacz. Did I pronounce your last name right?
You got it, man. You nailed it.
Awesome,
nice
man. Where are you from, Chris?
Melbourne, Australia. So 25-ish flight time to come and see you guys and hang out with you here at Imaging. And hasn't been worth it. No, I'm joking. It's been good, man. It's worth every second, and I've had a great time.
And before Imaging, you were in London.
Correct.
So,
yep.
What were you doing over there?
Doing the triangle. So from Melbourne, flew to London for the SWPP show, which was great at the time until I came here, and this is just another level, man. This is way bigger, way more energy, like just not used to the scale. You know, in Australia, things are a bit smaller, so I'm just getting used to everything being a bit more grand here in the States. And I'm loving it. It's great. Everyone's friendly, everyone loves the product and having a good time.
Oh yeah, the product. So your product in this case is StudioNinja. I want to get to that, but first, your art, the artistic side of you where you started and eventually led to the software. Your photography, you are a wedding photographer.
I was originally an everything photographer.
Right.
Well, I started out, if you want to go all the way back, I'll give you the short version, as a retoucher. I was working for a wedding studio like 20 whatever years ago as a retoucher, and didn't have any interest in photography, was just good at Photoshop, so they hired me to retouch some photos for their wedding albums. And after a few months, I'm thinking, wow, these photos are beautiful. Like, this is amazing. How do you do this? And had a chat with the owner of the business, and I'm like, dude, can you take me under your wings and teach me the ways? And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, I'm deadly serious. And he's like, well, if you're serious, then I need you retouching between 9 and 5. Between 5 and 9 p.m., you're helping me in the studio. And then every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you're coming with me on the weddings. I'm like, all right, I'm in. So that was my life for like a whole year. I would Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 during the day. I was retouching the photos. And then in the evenings, was helping him in the studio, doing like family portraits and model portfolios and learning all that stuff. And then every weekend I was out with him on the weddings, learning the ways. And then after that, ended up leaving that place and getting a job for a commercial photographer for a while and learning how that all worked. And then I worked for a very, very busy, high volume family portrait photography studio for a while. And I don't know, it was always in me. I'm like, I just have to start my own business. Like, I just had a hard time working for people, or that just wasn't in me. And I remember one day I was working for that family portrait studio, and I was doing everything from standing in the shopping centers, trying to get people in, to doing the sales calls, to bringing them in, to doing the photo shoot, to doing the retouching, to doing the in-person sales sessions. And this one day I made like it's like $7,600 sale or something around there. And I was like, oh my God, like I literally met this client in the shopping center and did the whole entire process and made like $7,500 from this client. I could totally do this myself. I would just need to do like one of these jobs every 3 months and I'll be fine financially. So that was the moment I realized I'm going to try and start my own business. But I didn't have a studio and just had to kind of figure it out. So the first thing I did, I basically emailed every single orthodontist in Melbourne, there was hundreds of them, and said to them, hey, how do you feel about giving away my vouchers to your clients who finish their braces? And once they finish their orthodontic treatment, you can give them the voucher for a free shoot. They're happy because they get a free gift at a perfect time. You look good because you're giving them a free gift, and it's great for me too. It's a win-win for everyone because I get a steady stream of potentially new clients. So 3 orthodontists agreed with me and said, sure, let's do it. Let's rock and roll. So then I had clients, but no studio. So I was giving away free shoots. So I had to hire a studio for $100 every time a client called me. So I was in the hole $100 before I even started. And they got a free photo shoot and a free 8x10, which cost me like $10. And I didn't have anywhere to sell either, so I used to like do the shoots in the studio, go home, edit, and then I would drive to the client's house with bags and bags of product to show them. I would set up in their living room and plug my computer into their TV and do a sales session in their living room. I mean, talking about it now, it sounds crazy, like I would never do that now. Way too difficult, but I was young and had lots of energy. And actually I did that for about a year, and did pretty well, actually. I don't know if people felt sorry for me because I was this kid who had driven like an hour to their house, and they're like, let's just give this guy $500 to go away. I don't know what it was, but I made some good money, and then eventually could afford to rent or lease my own studio that I was sharing with a few people, and kind of grew from there. And then I started shooting my own weddings, and I was doing fashion and commercial and product and a whole bunch of everything until I basically got burnt out. And I was thinking about what I enjoyed doing the most, and it was weddings. I loved weddings. As you know, they're almost a combination of all those genres put into one. You're doing portraits, you're doing fashion, you're doing architecture, you're doing product, you're doing portraiture. I love the hustle of a wedding and the adrenaline and the fact that almost every wedding is different, so it comes with different challenges and exciting. I don't know. I just felt like every weekend I'm in a new location, which is generally really beautiful, either a forest or a beach or some beautiful venue, and I just loved weddings. So I ditched everything else and stuck with weddings.
There's a wedding. I checked out your website. There's this one wedding that there's a picture in there that really stuck out to me. You might be laughing because you might know what I'm talking about.
Oh, God.
It was a Danny and Tim in Mount Buffalo. Is that? Or Bison? Which I don't know which one it was, but long story short, I see what I believe is to be the bride and some of the groomsmen butt naked in the snow.
Oh, yes.
So tell me the story about that. Was that your idea, their idea? Do tell.
I would love to tell you that was my idea, but these groomsmen were just a rowdy bunch of boys, and we were photographing at a ski resort, and for whatever reason, maybe they had a few shots of vodka as we were driving around or something, I don't know, but I'd finished taking photos of the bride and groom in this spot, and then all the boys are like, let's jump in. I'm like, I don't know, man. But yeah, pants went down and off they went. So it was their idea. I wouldn't have the guts to. I probably would now. Back then, I was. Don't know if I had the balls to make people do that. I don't know.
It was. I'll tell you what, though. Something about your style, because I did weddings and I said sorry already to my previous customers. You have this knack of capturing the ambiance of everything. The first thing I saw in your gallery, it wasn't the person getting ready. It was, here's what the weather looked like. Here's what surrounded
just
the
setting
location.
The scene, man. You know?
I'm looking at it and I was like, wow, that is damn clever. I would have never thought of that because that was not my forte. But you have this way of not only capturing the memory of the people involved, but just creating the ambiance. And is that something that you found yourself doing at all your weddings towards the late part, or?
I just wanted to tell the whole story, almost like imagining looking at the photos through some sort of like slideshow, and it's like, it becomes this movie. So it's like, get the little details as well, the raindrops falling off a leaf or whatever's going on. I always allowed for enough time at each location, so I had a bit of downtime to think about some interesting angles or, I don't know, other interesting things to shoot. I mean, definitely at the wedding venues, it was a bit different because I was always, apart from the couple, I was always thinking I would love this venue to recommend me. So I would always put a bit of time and effort aside to really get some great shots of the venue that they can use for themselves. I would always try to get a photo of the couple or the bridal party at a venue that would be unique to the venue. I would try. So then when I'm showing these photos to the venue, the people who own the venue, they would hopefully be like, wow, we've never had a photo like that taken at the venue before. And then they would start posting my photos on their Instagram, which is just great marketing for me. So I always put a bit of time aside to try and be as creative as possible at the different wedding venues. I mean, that's just like free advertising. If they're filling their Instagrams with my photos, it's a win. Great way to get referrals. So that was always on my agenda. Put a bit of time aside, try to look at their current Instagram, what's there, and what can I do differently? How can I stand out? And that was always a fun little challenge at every wedding that I shot.
Very clever approach as a business guy. Even the orthodontist thing, that's really clever. I think some people may have to grab that. Maybe not drive to their location, but hell, it's clever.
Yeah.
It's clever, right? You're getting your teeth taken care of. You feel great. Here's a photo shoot. Now it's your turn to upsell. That's a really nice little nugget. And from there, you develop your business. And listening and hearing about your background, you've created other businesses along the way before StudioNinja, some that were good, some that unfortunately didn't work out. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey and how eventually we got to StudioNinja?
Gosh, where do I start? So I always knew that I didn't want to be like 60 years old and still shooting weddings. And that's nothing against anyone who's 60 and still shooting weddings. I started shooting young and I loved weddings, and I just knew I had a lifespan of how long I would be loving weddings for. So I was always thinking about what could I do next, or what's an online business that I could start, or just something else. So yes, I created many different things, from a co-sharing creative office space, had a studio hire, had a photo booth business. I had a hens party topless waitering business where these men would wear aprons and go to these hens parties. I think they're called, what is it, like
Is it a bachelorette party?
Bachelorette party,
Okay.
exactly. But that didn't work out. I realized that good-looking 20-year-olds aren't very reliable and always calling in sick while I'm at a wedding, photographing a wedding, and it's very, very stressful trying to find replacement hunks for these bachelorette parties. So that one didn't last that long. But I always knew there'd be something after weddings. And yeah, there was one day I was driving to the bride's house at a wedding, and I was actually listening to a podcast. Podcasts are just such an awesome way to learn things, man. So, for a couple of years I was listening to podcasts about different topics, and this one day I was listening to an interview about, this guy was talking about how to start a software company with no money. And I'm like, I pulled the car over, I'm like, maybe I could start a software company because I got no money, so maybe it's possible. And I was just thinking about the client management system that I was currently using, and I was thinking, oh man, it's actually, my current solutions, in my opinion, was quite complicated and kind of overwhelming, and it was kind of stressing me out using this thing which is supposed to be making my life easier, and for some reason what I was using was not making my life easier. So I thought maybe I could build something that's like really simple and beautiful and easy to use and intuitive and works the way that my brain works as a photographer. I want to do these steps in this order because that's how I normally book weddings, or that's how I normally shoot portraits. And that's where the idea came from. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. The whole wedding, I was on the back of my mind. And I finished that wedding and I went home, uploaded the cards from that wedding, and then straight away started designing and mocking up some interfaces. And I put together a landing page. I thought of the business name the next morning, bought the domain, and I put together just like a one-page website with a few screenshots of what it's going to look like. And essentially, I was looking for early adopters. So I went to Facebook, all the different groups that I was in. There was quite a few of them, like 50 or 60, and I just spread the word to everyone. Hey, I'm going to build this thing. It's going to be so sick. It's going to be awesome. It's going to save you time. It's going to be so much better than everything else on the market. And I'm looking for 100 people to pay me some money up front, and in exchange, you will get half price for life. And 100 people signed up. So I got 100 people to pay me an annual subscription up front based on the idea. And then at that point, it kind of dawned on me that I actually have to build this thing now. And it was kind of scary, to be honest. And Ewan, who's the other co-founder, my business partner, he was renting an office in our creative co-sharing office space that I had. And we would often catch up for lunch and bounce ideas and talk business stuff. And that day, or that week, I caught up with him and I'm like, dude, I'm thinking about starting this business called StudioNinja. It's going to do this, this, and this, and I've already got 100 customers, and I've already got some money in the bank, and I had already found a developer by that time, and it's going to be cool. And then he's like, do you know what you're doing? Like, what do you know about running a development team? And how do you know, like, have you ever built software before? And I'm like, oh, not really, but I'll wing it. I'll be okay. And then the next morning I woke up and there was an email from you in my inbox saying, hey, Chris, I think your idea is great. I would love to be your business partner. I think I can add a lot of value. I've got lots of experience in A, B, C, D, E. He's a very, very good user experience designer. And I thought about it and I think this will be good. And we set off to work. He designed everything, and I was sort of very close to the customers and was not in charge, but working with him on the roadmap and making sure that as he's designing it, I want it to work the way that my brain worked. And that was in June of 2015. We launched it in February 2016. And what I thought would happen is we would launch it and then millions of people would use it, and I would go to Bali and retire and drink pina coladas all day and relax, is what I thought would happen. And we launched it in February, and I did all the marketing, and one customer signed up. So one customer. That's unfortunate. But we became friends with that customer, and we kept going, and then in March, we had 3 customers. And then in April, we had 8 customers. And very, very slowly, 8 became 20, became 50, became 100, became more and more and more, and now we've got 10,000 customers all over the world, in 72 countries, and it's amazing. It's been quite the journey. I had a lot of dramas in the early days, just teething issues, but now we're cruising, and it's so fun. It's great.
Back to those 100 early adopters, how did it feel to have 100 people buy into this idea that came from you parking on the side of the road? Now you had 100 people believing in your idea. How did that feel for you?
It felt great. I was just so in the zone, hustling to convert these people. And a few friends of mine are like, "Oh, did you run like a crowdfunding app or something?" I'm like, "No, they just filled in a contact form, and I called them and invoiced them through PayPal and got their money." So I kind of did it my way, and it worked. I mean, look, the best part is it really validated the idea, right? So always in business, in my opinion, moving forward, if I ever build another business, if I can pre-sell it, it will take a lot of the risk out of the idea, because if that didn't happen, I could have spent lots and lots and lots of money and time building something that potentially no one wanted, or people didn't find useful. So it was really nice to really validate the idea that this is something that at least 100 people want. I can only assume that more would, but if 100 people are happy to part ways with their money, but just on the idea, it felt good. I knew I was on the right path, and I was definitely going to go ahead with it.
Now that you're not necessarily pulling away from photography, but you're doing more StudioNinja, can you tell me the story you told me about that lucky kid that you ended up gifting him something at the end of the wedding?
So last March, now it's January. So in May last year, I was photographing my girlfriend's sister's wedding, and pretty much it was my plan that would be my last wedding. It's a family wedding. I've been shooting weddings for 18 years. I've done 600 weddings, and now I've got a young family and young kids, and I'm really wanting to focus more on the family and enjoy working ninja. So I'm like, this is going to be my last wedding. And it was a fantastic wedding, and at the reception, this 25-year-old man came up to me, and we started chatting, and he was a really, really nice guy, and he was telling me all these stories about how he had all these dreams to be a professional wedding photographer, and he was so desperate. He loved photography and would do anything to become a photographer, but he couldn't afford a camera. So he was telling me these stories, how he was on Facebook Marketplace all the time, selling his old stuff to try and save money for a camera, and he basically he was going to have enough money to barely afford like a very, very entry-level camera. And as the day and night went on, we were getting along really well, and we were sharing stories, and I just really liked this guy. And then at midnight, the wedding ended. I took the memory cards out of my camera, and I gifted him this camera. And I just said to him, "Hey man, you are in the right place at the right time. I am sort of officially or unofficially no longer shooting weddings. So here you go, this is yours." And he couldn't believe it. He almost started crying. And now I see his photos on Instagram, and he's traveling the world, and he's shooting, and his camera is hanging off his neck all the time. And it's a good story for me, and it's a great story for him. As his career starts off, he'll always remember that moment. It makes more of a difference to that guy getting that camera at that time than it would have for me just leaving the camera in the cupboard, gathering dust, or eventually selling it on Facebook for whatever. I think it was for a good cause. He deserved it.
And I think that someone believing in him, taking that journey, and he didn't just get any camera. I mean, he got a really decent camera and lens, and somebody believed in him. Like, here you go. Go ahead. Yeah. Like, people believed in StudioNinja with you. You gave him the opportunity. Who knows where the heck that guy's going to go? I
hope he does well. I'm an open book, so he can call me anytime if he needs advice or if he wants help or any tips or anything. I told him to call me anytime that he wants. And I hope he wasn't lying to me. And he actually And he actually does pursue a career in photography, but I'm excited to see how that unfolds for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me, in regards to StudioNinja, where is StudioNinja heading in the upcoming future?
So the roadmap is forever evolving. We currently, it's never ending. The roadmap, it's funny actually, funny story. Like when we were starting, I had about 10 features on the roadmap that I wanted to build. I'm like, this is the 10 features that I need to run my business. Once I've built those 10 features, we're going to be done and we can chill. And 8 years later, I thought the feature list would get shorter and shorter and shorter because obviously we're building constantly and releasing new features very, very regularly. But now our roadmap and backlog is 1,000 features deep. So there is no shortage. And I think it's also because we're very close and transparent with our customers that we love them giving us feedback, good or bad. It's all, bad feedback's also good because it helps us improve. So as we go, there's online scheduling, there's other payment gateways, there's more and more features. The best thing with Ninja is, I think we're one of the only ones in terms of client management where it's built by a photographer and will always be only for photographers. So everything on the roadmap is specifically built for the photographer. I know of the other companies in our space, and they're very kind of business general. So as they are building out new features, it's for small business in general. But in our case, I just want to help photographers. So everything that we do moving forward will be for photographers, for that market only, and specifically for them.
And it recently got acquired.
That's right.
Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. So as me and Ewan grew Ninja from nothing to, let's just say, 10,000 customers, the business matures, and we know what our skills are. We were good founders, and we did a very good job at taking it from nothing to where it is today. And we started realizing that for this thing to create like legacy, to take this, because it really helps a lot of people, right? And it's so nice getting testimonials from our users, two that I can think of off the top of my head. Like one lady sent me a video once, and she's like, "Chris, I'm so thankful for you and for Ninja because it saved my marriage." Like, what?
Wow.
And she's in this video that she sent me, she's like, "I used to be so stressed and moody, and I'd be working all night, and I was overwhelmed with my admin. I was always chasing things and forgetting what I had to do. And me and my husband were kind of falling apart. Like I didn't have time, and it wasn't in a good place. And now that my business is inside StudioNinja and everything's automated, everything's tidy and neat and being organized, it's like rekindled my marriage, and I'm so thankful." And day to day I'm working in the business, I don't really hear that sort of stuff. So when you do, it really reminds me why I have been building this thing. And another one was a similar story about a mother who always had to get babysitters and put her kids in childcare because she was so busy shooting and dealing with, not busy shooting, dealing with all the admin stuff. So now that Ninja is automating and kind of handling all that for her, she sent me a video holding her two kids on her hip saying, "Because of you and because of Ninja, I get to spend way more time with these little kids now, and I'm so grateful." It's like, it feels so good to know that it is making a positive impact on a lot of people's lives. So essentially, as the business grew and grew and grew, a business matures, and we started realizing that we don't know what we don't know. So we've worked really, really, really hard to get to this stage, but my skill set is no longer in tune to take it further. I mean, I could definitely do it, but it would have been slower, and I was aware that I'm not the best person to really grow this thing from here onwards. So we decided, let's team up and essentially get acquired by very smart people who are very good at marketing and growing businesses. Because today we have over 10,000 customers, and I would love to be able to tell my kids that Daddy built this business from nothing, and now instead of 10,000, it's helping 20,000 or 30,000 or 40,000 or 50,000. That would be amazing. And that's why we did it. We want to see this thing in the hands of as many photographers as possible, helping them with their business so they can spend more time doing the fun things like shooting and getting new customers and all that stuff. A lot of photographers find the admin scary. Like they're overwhelmed by it, and it's a shame because I hear a lot of stories of photographers who close their business down because they can't handle the admin side like they thought, which is understandable. I just want to shoot nice photos because that's what I love doing. But the reality is, yes, you do that, but you also have to have skills in all these other areas for small business, which can deter a lot of people. So Ninja handles that for a lot of people, and I'm excited to see, with my help and with Ewan's help, we're still staying in the business. We are very, very much almost actually like nothing's changed apart from getting a lot more advice, and we have more resources. We can have better support. We can build things faster. Our development team will grow. We've just got more smart people in the room that can help us hopefully grow it to as big as we can. So I'm excited to see the growth.
That's exciting. That's very exciting from where it started to where it is now. Chris, do you have a quote or a belief that you live by, maybe instill in your children, that this is what you want or you want to convey to the world?
Oh, God. I'm a pretty chill guy. I kind of, things, oh, God, what would that be? I don't know, man. Like, to some extent, which Ninja kind of helps with as well, they've interviewed a lot of people who are sort of on their deathbed. And one of the things they say, they never wished that they could have worked more. They always wished they could have spent more time with their families and spent more time doing the things they love doing. So I love the fact that hopefully Ninja will help people with that too. If the boring, mundane admin stuff is taken care of. And look, I'm the same, man. I have a good work-life balance where I love spending time with my family, love spending time snowboarding in nature, and I hustle for the work as well. But for me, it's all about balance.
That's great. And you never know, like that case where the marriage was saved, someone's stress level can go down. You never know. You want to help them with the photography admin side of things, but you could be changing their life just by simplifying that entire process.
Yeah, man.
Where can people find more information about StudioNinja or maybe get a hold of you?
Sure. StudioNinja.co if you need to know anything about StudioNinja, or reach out to me personally, maybe email chris@studioninja.co or on Instagram, Chris Garbacz.
Nice. Is there anything I could have asked you that I forgot to ask you?
Man, you covered it. I didn't realize I'd be telling you my whole life story and how it all started, but it's nice to, you sort of forget, I personally forget how it all started. So it's a nice refresher to tell the story again and remind me of the sleepless nights and the hard work that it took to get here. And it's fun. Look, I'm glad COVID is also over. It's nice to be traveling again and traveling the world and meeting these amazing photographers that are here and hanging out with you, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm having a ball.
Me too, man. Well, it's been great talking with you. Thank you for being a guest.
Legend.
Chris, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much.